What if the Ramayana was not narrated by Rama? What if it was narrated by Sita? Not as a goddess, not as an ideal wife, but as a woman. A woman who loved, who questioned, who suffered, and who chose her own dignity. Today we are exploring The Forest of Enchantments by Chitra Banerjee Devapuni, a retelling that gives Sita her own voice. Hello and welcome to Granthika. This is a space where books become conversations. We don't just summarize stories, we explore the ideas, emotions, history, and philosophy hidden within them. If you love literature, mythology, politics, and meaningful books, you are in the right place. Published in 2019, The Forest of Enchantments reimagines the Ramayana from a Sita perspective. Unlike traditional versions where Sita often remains silent, here she speaks. She narrates her childhood, her marriage, exile, Ravana's captivity, return to Ayodhya, and finally her own choices. The novel doesn't reject the Ramayana, it simply asks us to listen to a voice we rarely hear. Sita is human. Does Sita laugh? She becomes angry. She doubts. She forgives. She isn't perfect. She is deeply human. Most epics celebrate heroes who win battles. This novel celebrates endurance. Sometimes courage is not lifting a weapon. Sometimes courage is survival. One of my favorite aspects is how women are portrayed. Kakai, Mandodari, Urmila, and even Shrupnakha. They are no longer just side characters. They become individuals with fears, ambitions, and emotions. The forests are not just background, they breathe, they comfort, they transform people. The title itself tells us that enchantment lies not only in magic but in nature. Beautiful writing, emotional depth, a fresh perspective, rich descriptions, thought provoking questions about duty, love, justice, and identity. No book is perfect. At times, the pacing feels slow. Readers expecting fast action may find long, reflective passages challenging. Since the story stays close to Sita's perspective, some events from the traditional Ramayana receive less attention. But that is also the novel's purpose. When stayed with me wasn't the war between Rama and Ravana. It was the quiet strength of Sita. This novel reminded me that history often remembers kings while forgetting the women who endured alongside them. Whether you agree with every interpretation or not, the book invites us to ask deeper questions. Who gets to tell history? Whose voices remain unheard? And how does changing the narrator change the story itself? As someone pursuing research in political science, I couldn't help but read this novel beyond mythology. Political science often distinguishes between women being present and women having agency. Agency means the ability to make one's own choices. Throughout history, women have frequently been celebrated for sacrifice but rarely acknowledged as decision makers. This novel challenges that pattern. Here, Sita is not merely a passive figure. She thinks, questions, and makes moral choices. Whether readers agree with every decision or not, the novel invites us to see her as an active participant in our own life. History is usually written by those who hold power. Many traditional epics are narrated from the perspective of king and warriors. By allowing Sita to tell the story, Chitra Banerjee Devakunni raises an important question. Who gets to narrate history? In political thought, representation is not only about being included, it is also about having the opportunity to speak for yourself. This is not the book that rejects tradition. Rather, it reinterprets tradition through the experiences of a woman. It reminds us that strength can take many forms. Leadership is not always expressed through battle. It can also be seen in resilience, compassion, and moral courage. Political power is often associated with kings, governments, and institutions, but this novel suggests another kind of power, the ability to preserve dignity even in adversity. Sita may not occupy the throne, yet her choices influence generations. That is a different but equally significant form of power. The forest in this novel is more than a backdrop. It shapes relationships, offers refuge, and becomes a space for reflection. This portrayal reminds us that nature is deeply connected with human life. From an environment perspective, the story encourages us to view forests not merely as resources but as living spaces that sustain communities and cultures. One of the most thought provoking aspects of the story is the tension between public opinion and personal justice. Rama's difficult decisions are influenced by what the people expect of a ruler. This raises questions that remain relevant today. How should leaders balance public opinion with individual rights? Can majority sentiment alone determine what is just? These are the questions political science continues to debate. Even today, women continue to seek equal opportunities in political education, workplaces, and leadership. While progress has been made, discussions around representation, voice, and gender equality remain central to democratic societies. The Forest of Enchantments contributes to these conversations by encouraging readers to revisit a familiar story through a different lens. This novel is not asking us to replace one version of the Ramayana with another. It invites us to recognize that every great story can be understood from multiple perspectives. By listening to Sita's voice, we are reminded that history becomes richer when it includes those who were often unheard. Thank you. And if you want these type of reviews, book reviews that I read from different perspectives, you can subscribe to my channel Granthika. Thank you very much.